friend. So today we are going to speak about a very interesting topic, probably a favorite for a lot of you, that is about movies. But we are not speaking anything about acting. We are not speaking anything about movie reviews, celebrities, or actors. We are speaking about something which we generally speak on this platform, Change Trails, that is about sustainability and environment. And we are speaking about sustainable filmmaking. And for that, we have a very special guest, Roberto from Chile. So, welcome, Roberto. Welcome to Change Trace. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's a great pleasure to be in company of you and to spread about this topic, to talk about this.
Absolutely. So, why don't we first demystify sustainable movie making? Because, as all of us know, I mean, in layman terms, that there are a lot of aspects in movie making, right from story, the production, the pre-production, the cinematography. There are a lot of aspects. But what is sustainable movie making? So, can you demystify? Can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, so in a nutshell, sustainable filmmaking is how do we make films not only tell stories that are about ecology and that are about like the environment, but also how do we make them so or words are supported by our actions. How us as producers, as professionals, can we find the greenest practices, the greenest technology in order to create a film that is not only trying to tell a good story, but it's also looking to reduce its carbon footprint to the minimum, hopefully to zero. And that's what we try with every film that we make on sustainable filmmaking. So it's about making ecological films, basically.
So how do you go about it? I mean, as I said, I mean, there are a lot of aspects in movie making. There are very small little parts which goes in movie making, and there are a lot of people involved in movie making. So how do we go about sustainability there, Roberto?
So yeah, it is as you say, like you have to kind of have an eye on every little area, like the cinematographer, the art director, the screenwriter. The main, like I would say, like the main number one thing to do is to calculate how much you think you're gonna generate. So for example, like a film will tend to have multiple trucks in order to carry equipment, to carry actors. It will have maybe motorhome for big stars and what's not, catering, lots of plastic, lots of styrofoam in order to have like a bunch of coffees throughout the day, a bunch of waters. Then you have like, in the terms of like art direction, you will have a lot of sets. They will build a whole set and then maybe go to the trash if they don't make it, in order that they can like kind of deconstruct it and use it again, right? And also the same thing happens with trash, with residual management. There is a lot of waste in filmmaking because filmmaking is all about being fast. When you see like these big movies, they move from one place, they shoot in this place. You might live in a neighborhood and one day see a film production,
Yeah,
all of this, like they're there in an hour, they
yeah,
do their thing, and they're gone.
yeah,
Like it happens so fast. And naturally, when you act that way, you may not be the best neighbor, in terms of like, if you don't have a team that is staying there to clean up, to recycle, to make sure not to like leave the place better or the same as it was before they got there. So there is a lot of things to take in consideration, like when it comes to making sustainable filmmaking. The script writing, for example, we print the scripts. Usually you will get print your first version of one script, then maybe the second version, then maybe the third version, then maybe you will send it to the actors, to the crew, then change your mind about something, print it again, send it again. You will have the same thing with call sheets, for also every member of the crew. So it's like basically like, okay, we have all these things that are happening all at the same time. There's so many levels of artistry and industry working at the same time. So the key is be like, okay, this is what's gonna happen. Now what can we do before it happens in order to reduce our carbon footprint? So it's planification. The master key to it all is planification, because once you have that, then you have a path for yourself and to do your film.
absolutely. Makes sense. Makes sense, Roberto. So why don't you tell us about your journey? And that is before Fen. Before Fen started, what was your journey like?
My journey was, I always wanted to be an artist. Like at first I didn't know exactly what I wanted. First I wanted to be a singer. I mean, I still do music, so I still do that. Then I wanted to paint. Then I wanted to be an actor. Then I had like an experience acting in a little short film, which made me realize, no, actually, I want to tell the stories. I want to be able to create the stories, not only act them. So I decided to go for filmmaking. I studied filmmaking after school, was 18 years old, but I always felt like I just don't want to make like entertaining movies. Like there's a lot of them. I can make explosions and make people laugh and like that's fun, but like I felt like there was so much happening in the world. I always had and I always tell this to my brothers and people that know me the most closest, and I can feel like I can say cheesy things to them. I always said that like I want to leave the world as a better place than the one that I came to inhabit when I came to the world. Um, so I was studying filmmaking, and I knew that I wanted to make films about social issues, that I wanted to highlight social issues, that I wanted to help people, that I wanted to help communities. I wanted to help the underdog. I wanted to help people that didn't felt empowered, you know, because I felt like I didn't feel so empowered when I was growing up. I always felt a bit like weak and sensitive and whatever. And so like when the moment came to me to kind of pick on which social issue I was gonna focus, I started diving more into ecological activism. As I have mentioned, basically there was a lot of issues in Chile regarding like fossil fuel industries polluting small towns, getting children, like an entire kindergarten of 60 kids, they all got sick because of this polluting industry right next to them. So for me, it became a very, very important thing. I was going to protest. I was doing the pamphlets, you know, bringing them and shouting and everything. And then it kind of hit me that I realized, man, I'm going to graduate in like 2 years and I'm going to be part of an industry that only like in LA, in Hollywood, in California, is like the second most polluting industry. Only in LA, like it's right after oil refining, and then it's Hollywood filmmaking, and then it's like hotel industry and fashion industry. But like this is in the second place, and I was like, wow, how is that possible? Because I felt like I had been learning about sustainability, and I had been learning about social issues through film, through documentary. And it just like I kind of realized I've been learning all these things through this kind of media, but this media is not representative and it's not acting like in connection or in consequence with its words. So that for me was the beginning of the journey. I will say like that conflict that started inside of me was like, I am doing something, I love doing this, but the way that the world is doing it, it doesn't seem to be the right way. And because we need to care about this, so how do we grab this and like wrap it around the things that we care? So it's something that is more like life-changing and more supporting of life in planet. So that was the beginning of the journey, basically. Like,
that's very fascinating. So when did FEN start? So did it start just after your college, or you took some time, did some movie making, did some things yourself, and then you got into FEN?
So basically, FEN started like maybe like a year after I graduated. I did my thesis on naturally I started doing this thing about sustainable filmmaking. So I did my thesis on that, and I wrote this. There's been until then there's been like maybe two documents. There were two documents, one from the United States and one from Canada, that talk about sustainable filmmaking. But they were very forgiving. They were like very forgiving. Like they were like, oh, you could try to do this, you could try to do that, and blah blah blah. And I wanted to be very dogmatic. I wanted to be very like extreme. I wanted to be like, if you don't have solar energy, don't make your films. Like a little bit more like, I just wanted to push the line, you know. I wanted to push the like, let's do it zero waste. So I wrote this. I had two mates back then. We wrote this. This guy, basically this Spanish guide for sustainable filmmaking, and it was mostly oriented to indie filmmakers and to people doing like small productions, because I was doing small productions. And so we wrote it. I graduated, got the good grades, you know. Then I went straight to work. I was already doing my internship, so I was working at a TV show series. And after like probably like 6 months or something, I figured that I had to start like I had to kind of like do the things that I was talking about in my thesis. And the first thing I did was I got like a shitty job as a bartender for like 1 month, and with that money I bought a solar panel and a solar grid, and I already had a camera and I already had some like a computer that I can edit my films with. So I just went and I started doing things with my brother Juan Pablo, who's like the other half of Fen. And so we started like we did a short film which was like all with solar energy, and we shot it with our bikes, and then we did a little bit something a bit bigger with other people. We brought them together. We did a stop motion, and that was like when we really like tested it. And was like, okay, if we can do this, like there is no reason why this wouldn't be applicable for like bigger productions. I mean, if we are able to get our own energy from the sun, feed or like our crew members with like organic locally produced food, and if we are able to recycle and have stations set up, you know, like why wouldn't they be able to do this in bigger productions? That was the beginning of Fen. And then, well, that was in 2014. That was 2014 when Fen officially started. And then I really wanted to travel, so I left to Europe, and I was living in different countries for like the last 5 years.
Oh, okay.
And then eventually, with Juan Pablo, we got back together, and we got back together in Berlin. So it was like, you know, it feels like we need to get this back because nobody has really done it. I mean, it's been you when you look at sustainable filmmaking, like you will find some stuff online, but there hasn't been. It's really a really small community. It really is a really small community, and maybe there's like 4 websites that you will find, and that will be the end of your information, you know. And so I was doing music, he was doing illustrations, so he just felt like we needed to do this because we had the experience, but we also wanted to teach about it, and we wanted to make others learn about it. And that's why we've been giving like little seminars, and we've been giving like the talk where you were, or the workshops. We did like a stop motion solar energy powered stop motion in a festival before COVID at the beginning of the year. So it's just kind of like it's kind of been taking a life of its own. Then it kind of took a life of its own, because like there's certain things that I like to do, there's certain things that Juan Pablo likes to do, and then there are things that Fen needs to do, you know. So then like we just like do whatever that needs, and we do it all with all of our love and all of the energy from the sun, and practicing, like putting everything that we know into practice, basically.
Awesome. So, so can you tell little more about Fen? So, like, if I'm Paramount Pictures, or if I'm Columbia Studios or Sony Studios or Disney, and if I come to Roberto and I ask that I want to make a movie, so how would Roberto and Fen is going to help me in movie making? Or, I mean, you provide some consulting, some help. What is that? How do you work?
Well, basically, like the way that we are focusing it right now is that we are doing like 2 ways. Like we both do our own little things. Like we do as artists, we need to kind of have our voice. And right now we are working in a new sustainable like short film, which we plan to send to film festivals. And we started shooting like later this month actually.
Sure.
And we're like a making of, and we're gonna do like so people can see it like all around the world. What is this process about? And so people can do it and replicate it. But like there is that part. There is the part of like us and our projects, and then there is like we also do like commission like jobs for other people, and we do them also with sustainable like with sustainable kind of view. So we've done like, let's say for example, like somebody is doing like digital content for their YouTube or something like that. We will do that content with like solar energy, applying like kind of giving like a whole giving also like we will like explain how we get like carbon neutral basically. So like what do we do in order to like reduce our footprint. And besides that, in the same lane, we are giving talks, and that's we kind of like doing that for free so far. We haven't gone into like asking people for anything for it, because we feel like it just needs to happen. We need to have that transition. And there's so many filmmakers like they're just starting right now and they care for the environment and maybe they haven't think about this yet. So I guess we want to approach those people and some other colleagues that are already working and they are already seeing the problems with the industry, and but they don't know what to do about it. And so we kind of have like, this is what you can do about it. Like we have, what can you do about it? So it's kind of like yeah, we do our own projects and we help other people to make their projects as well. So that's the way we are seeing, and we are all doing it under the sustainable lens, basically.
Sounds interesting. Very interesting. So Roberto, I mean, so we speak about $100 million movie, $200 million movie. So what is that area which impacts most? What is that aspect in the movie making business, in the movie making process, that is impacting the environment the most?
That would be,
whether it's script, whether it's the food, whether it is the electricity which is consumed. So what is that specific area which consume most of the environment footprint?
yeah. So for example, like a tentpole movie, like for example, like a tentpole movie will be like a movie that you will see in your cinema, like not an indie film, not a small film, a movie that you will see in your cinema or you will see in your Netflix screen. Something that will have like, you know, we will have some people talking about it, you know. That will probably like, you will emit around like 3,000 tons of CO2 for that movie. That's like, and that for example, from those 3,000 like those 3,000 CO2 tons, you will get probably like 60%, something about from 50 to 60%, that will be diesel. That will be both for transport, so moving from one place to the other, and also for generating electricity. Right. Very common in a lot of movies, in a lot of big movies, that they will go to a location. Let's say they want to shoot in the Great Canyon. Right. So they go to the Great Canyon, they bring their big diesel generators, and they are powering everything with this. They are powering lights, they are powering the camera, they are powering the sound, they are powering the post-production guy who's already there getting ready. Besides that, like that will be like one part that is generating a lot, and that's probably like the hardest part to kind of work around, you know, because technologies are still not so affordable in those terms, or not quite there. But that's like one part, and it's still like still in transport is this whole idea that, like, you know, you will have Brad Pitt on its own motorhome, you know. And like, don't get me wrong, I love that guy, but like, you know, you don't need your own huge vehicle just because you want, other people. And like, I think that is a problem that we need to be talking more about, because if we are moving towards a more conscious and equality and cooperative future, you know, we need to kind of like see, maybe the star system doesn't work, maybe it's a bit outdated, maybe, you know, we need to come closer instead of like trying to make other people feel like they're more special and they can have their own motorhome and like take some vehicles off the road, you know. They're the same vehicles that are carrying the equipment, which they have to. So that is definitely the number one hardest part to work around on film. And then it's probably catering. Catering it comes right after, but luckily we've had a lot of advances on that. I feel like now everybody knows how like plastic is not good, and everybody knows about the problems with single-use plastic. And like, if you know about this and you're not doing anything, then that's like, you have a big problem, you know. But like, I think like in general, like movie sets are actually like going towards like, you know, everybody in the team having their own reusable water, and they're trying to get rid of plastic, you know. It's kind of, so they're working towards it a little bit more, and kind of also being able to recycle and what's not. But yeah, the main thing so far is and also digital media. So screenwriting is becoming easier and everything is more digital. But yeah, transport and diesel, I think solar energy and hydrogen could be solving those things,
Hmm.
but it's still taking some time to make that transition.
Yeah, absolutely. And probably electric vehicles as well. I mean, if they can use electric vehicles, yeah.
Can definitely make it better. The only issue with electric vehicles that I've seen so far is that like you might have a hard time finding like powering stations.
Hmm.
Like even if a country starts like selling a bunch of electric vehicles, if you don't have like power stations, like they won't be able to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Like just the other day I read in New Zealand they're planning to change their entire fleet of trucks to hydrogen trucks, to like zero emissions hydrogen trucks. And I thought, whoa, like if Hollywood has all this money, like they should be getting those hydrogen trucks and turn them into equipment trucks and what's not, you know. But electric vehicles are definitely a good option. Also, engaging with your, if you're shooting in the city and people can find a means of public transport, use the public transport, get on a bike 100%. Get on a bike wherever you are in your life. Get on a bike. It makes you happy, it makes your blood pump, and you know, it's nice for you, it's nice for the environment. All that we've done so far, we just move on bikes. Luckily we haven't have the idea to do something like out in the, you know, 100 kilometers away. But yeah, I mean, and like encourage those things and also reward them. That's very important. Like if you're gonna make like let's say you're gonna make a little short film and you want to have your crew to engage, you can always like reward them for like coming to the set on a bike, you know, or bringing their own reusable water. And that's the beauty about sustainable filmmaking, is besides the final product, is what you can take from the whole experience as you being part of it, as an actor, as an electrician, as a screenwriter, whatever. You become part of something new, something that it's empowering, I think.
Absolutely. So we are speaking about a lot of big people here. I mean, Quentin Tarantino, James Cameron, Steven Spielberg. So where do you think the buck lies? Whether it is the directors or the production houses, who is more responsible to ensure that we keep the environment safe in movie making? Is it only about James Cameron or Steven Spielberg, or the production houses also can do their bit, or even actors can do their bit? So where do you think responsibility lies more?
I think definitely goes on production.
Okay.
And I say this because like, okay, so like for example, like filmmakers, like they directors, you know, they will have their ideas and they will bring their ideas.
Yeah.
And if a film director, like let's say Quentin Tarantino, which maybe he wouldn't do this because he still likes to film he likes to shoot in film, not in digital. And
Yeah.
film is all plastic and water, and it just takes so much resources. It even used like gelatin from animals, you know, so it's like not the greatest idea.
Yeah.
But like if he, let's say, or another person decides to make a film and do like, guys, I want to make this a sustainable film, I want to be able to reduce my emissions, then the production house has to kind of own to that, you know. So it's usually on, and the same thing happens with an actor. So it's usually the production houses that provides the setup for this to work. For example, one main thing for you to do on a set is for you to recycle, for you to have a residual management where you avoid to generate trash. You avoid as much as possible. So like it will be on the production house to have those spaces. It will be on the production house to provide you with energy, with renewable energy. The kind of like the directors can like stand behind the idea and can stand behind behind like what the concept is. But in terms of like the production and in terms of making things work in a sustainable way, it will always be up to the producer, I feel. And that's why actually in the case of sustainable filmmaking, like and this is not only me, this is like a shared vision of the small niche of sustainable filmmakers, we choose to have a new crew member, which is the ecological producer, the sustainable producer. Is this one person who, I mean, this is going to be the producer, and then the sustainable producer who's going to make sure and be behind everybody's back to both kind of give you the options for you to to look into making sustainable filmmaking. And he's also gonna be like encouraging you and just being like the person kind of holding the green boat, you know, within the production.
Awesome.
So it's definitely the producers, I would say.
Got it. So you gave an interesting job opportunity as well for the people. I mean, this could be an interesting one, yeah, because
It is,
yeah, you
yeah,
have chief sustainability officer in a lot of companies these days. So you can have a chief sustainability director or a producer in a movie. So yeah,
exactly.
makes
Yeah.
sense. Good one. So what is the kind of change are you witnessing? I mean, over past 4 5 years, have you witnessed any change which is happening in the industry? It is,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, definitely. So like 5 years ago, easily 5 years ago, nobody was caring about the you know, like I worked in like I had the pleasure to work in like an HBO series. It was like a Latin American HBO, and like it was a big productions, and you don't see so many of these like big productions here in Chile. But this one was like really big, and I was very horrified back then because I was going very like I was going very deep into ecological activism, and I was horrified because we were having like, you know, we were making like a whole scene on inside a set, and every so often you will see the people from the catering bringing trays with different like glasses of juice with different flavors, you know, and they will go on and everybody will like pick up some juice, and then they will disappear. Later on, like the people will like finish their juices and put them like straight on the trash, and like maybe just 2 hours later, same lady will come out with a tray, new new plastic cups. People will drink, electricians, directors, again, an hour later, again. So like easily like one director or one electrician could like drink seven different plastic glasses of water in a
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
and this is just one day
Yeah.
in a like a one or whatever, like a 70-day shooting or of a movie or something like that.
Mhm.
um and that was just that was not good at all. And now they're very careful about that. I mean, I think this whole no to single-use plastic concept has really gotten in the heads of people. And that's the thing, like the sustainable filmmaking will move faster in its transformation with the times and with how people are talking about this, because it's kind of like an amalgam, like it's a combination of different little actions, right? So like you learn to, you know, close the tap of the water when you're like washing your hands and you are putting on the soap, you know. As you learn that, you learn, you know, to maybe like not get a new plastic water bottle and maybe just start using your own one and refilling it when you need some drinks, you know. And as that mentality changes, filmmaking changes, and because art is just a reflection of humanity itself.
Sure.
So that's probably like one of the biggest ones, and now it's cool. It's cool that people are talking about it. I see now it's more common today to see every colleague with their own reusable
Mm.
bottle. You know, I remember I used to write down my name in my, because I didn't have a reusable bottle, so I was trying to write down my name on the plastic, and then like after 1 week, I realized there were like 4 other people doing the same thing. And like those are the things that you think like, oh, that's so cool that like, I mean, it's not like you're telling anybody to do it, but when people see a good action, you feel like you want to be part of that. You know, you feel like you want
Absolutely.
to be part of the action.
Absolutely. I mean, you hit the nail on its head. I mean, if you yourself do it and you can inspire somebody, I mean, that is the best. I mean, that is best you can do. So awesome.
Yeah.
So Roberto, we discussed a lot of things. So what is the next step for you as a company, and where do you want to grow? What is your vision like?
So we still haven't shoot like our own future film. This
Mm-hmm.
is this is this is our next goal. Because we've been doing all this like in a very like micro budgets. We've been working with our own money, and we've been like just maybe some grants here and there, but like really small things. And this is also the reason why we've decided to kind of build our career mainly in Germany, is because we feel we have a little bit more of support.
Sure.
There is a lot of issues right now in Chile that make it really hard for artists to kind of make it.
Mm.
And in Germany, there is like a bit more of environmental awareness, and there's a lot of like startups on ecology, and that's for me, that for us is really interesting. And our goal, yeah, is to make a feature film. I mean, we're doing another short film now. I hope the next movie we make will be a feature film, because that will be probably like next year. And like our goal is like right now we're like, I think that we're very present right now, because I feel like after COVID-19, I feel like you only can plan like maybe like a month ahead.
Yeah.
But like right now as of this moment, we are making this film. It's a really beautiful beautiful idea, and we're shooting it, and we'll have it ready by the end of the year. We're gonna send it to some festivals, which hopefully are gonna allow us to have more eyes on us, and get more support and more fund in order to make a future film, which we already have a bunch of ideas, and we want to shoot it in Berlin, and we want to do it in different like times, and we want to like, like kind of different eras, like one in the 80s, one in the 90s, but in this part of the same movie, tell like a cosmical universal story, and do it all with also like renewable energy, with zero waste. We want to keep it in the city, so we don't have to go to diesel and go in having too many transport around. So, and make it, yeah, and make it to festivals, and have people talk about it. I mean, naturally that's what you want as an artist. And
Yes.
also, just we're gonna continue to support other creatives and other people that would like to get like their own visual content made sustainably. We're gonna support them. Yeah, so that's kind of like what we have in store for the now and for the future.
All the best, Roberto. I mean, I'm sure you would make a very interesting script and movie, and I'm sure that would inspire a lot of other people, a lot of young people like you, to make movies like that. So all the best. So
Yeah.
probably my last question: what is your personal connect with nature and environment? Leave film, leave movie making, just your personal connect.
So I will say like, things like, I feel like I don't know. I just feel like we owe so much respect to it. I feel like we are all connected. I like, there is a really nice quote that I like, that it says that like, we are all stardust. We all came from this. I mean, whether you believe in this or that, I believe that we are all connected. Everything is connected. So we have to treat our bodies we treat our bodies as temples. We treat ourselves as temples. We treat others as temples. We treat our earth as a temple. I feel like if you want the best for if you want just like cherish life, and thrive, and really thrive, and not just try to survive, you have to be kind, and you have to give love, and that love has to go in all directions. It has to go for within you, to and to your surrounded, to your loved ones, and to life itself, for the animals, and plants, and everything. I feel like everything is connected, and there's nothing or nobody that's gonna get me out of that idea. I feel like we're a collective consciousness on the move. I feel like we are creating the future, and we're creating the present as we speak. We are co-creators of reality. So we had to make the best to make something beautiful out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, would you give one advice to other filmmakers like yours, uh, what they should do in movie making, and what methods do they need to follow? Any advice?
I will say they're to write scripts, they're to tell stories in which we've solved the problems of today. They're to tell, you know, stories in a world where there's gender equality, and where plants grow wild on the trees, and the air is clean. Like, there is so much human conflict, and there's so much like beautiful things within humans. Like, there is so many ways we can tell a story. We don't need to have a post-apocalyptic movie. We don't need to destroy the world. We don't need to have a character go through a deserted place, and have grief of destroying everything. We have to go beyond that. I feel like we keep on telling the story in which we in which like the next natural disaster is gonna be, that's gonna be the one. We keep on telling that story, and I'm like, guys, come on, like we're not gonna be like that easily taking off this thing, you know. So we are here to tell better stories about the future and really believe them, because we need to own up to our ability to imagine the future.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like that's what we need to do.
But I mean, on the contrary, I mean, a lot of movies are made on that theme only, right? Avengers or Game of Thrones is all blood and killing and all that. I mean, but yeah, I mean, we need people like you to create those beautiful stories and probably inspire that this can be done. So I'm sure you would act as an inspiration, because otherwise, I mean, we are seeing a lot of things on contrary, and people are appreciating that those fights, those actions. But what you said is totally relatable, and that is what needs to be done.
Exactly. We need to try.
Exactly. So thanks a lot, Roberto. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much for this. This was very nice. I
Yeah.
really enjoy it.
Yes.